Everyone, and welcome back and welcome to day two. Happy Wednesday. I hope you're all doing well and you all had a wonderful first day of school. You're probably feeling completely overwhelmed or maybe feeling a little bit better. First day is always definitely intimidating. My video today will be shorter than yesterday's. I will reiterate some of the things I mentioned in yesterday's instructional video, and there's just the two videos this week. Normally I actually do one, and then maybe there'll be an additional video to expand on a project. But remember that these videos are mandatory and they are in replacement of your daily lessons that you would have in a regular classroom. So while it may seem boring to just sit and listen to me, honestly, if you don't watch these videos, you will be confused or you'll be sending me emails where I will reply to you and say, did you not watch the video? So please watch these videos, okay? So it's day two. By now, you've listened to my 17-minute instructional video that I introduced yesterday. It was linked in here, Tuesday's assignment, and you completed your participation activity for the first day. And then today, your job is to listen to this video and to complete the participation activity for day two, okay, today. Remember that those participation activities have to be done on the day that they are assigned for the first 2 weeks. That is your attendance check. So if you don't complete your participation activity for today, that's assigned today, you'll be marked absent for today. Okay. After the first 2 weeks, it chills out a little bit and we go into one participation activity for the entire week. And I'll explain that in the instructional video for that week when the time comes. Okay. So today's, again, a pretty relaxing day. Feel free to jump ahead and move forward with the rest of your week. Yesterday's video, I expanded on what you need to do for the rest of the week. So tomorrow, you've been assigned an article to read, your participation activity, and your first classroom discussion. But again, because you're in an e-learning course, if you happen to have time today and you want to do the discussion post today, even though it's assigned for you tomorrow, you can do that. And that's the awesome thing about being an e-learning student. Just a reminder that for your discussion post, you are obviously doing that under your discussion threads in Classroom. So if you go into Brightspace and you click on Communication, Discussions, your first discussion post is there. You have 4 questions that you need to answer. You also need to ask a question of your peers, and you need to read and reply to at least 2 peer posts, and that's going to be your full mark for that. Remember that discussion posts are scaffolding your learning. They are important for class contributions and communications, which are obviously learning skills. And I do mark them at random, okay? So it's important that you do that. Remember that every midterm and final report, you will have a series of class awards, usually out of a mark of 20. And they're just to make sure that you're completing these types of activities. So if you don't do these things and you get a 0 out of 20 on that particular portion of your midterm mark, it's definitely going to impact your mark. And they're easy marks and they're important marks. So just do them. Okay. All right. And that's that. So yesterday I went through all of this in length and in detail as to what the expectations were for this week. So again, if you need to check back to that, go back to yesterday's video. It's been linked in here in the introductory lesson. Okay. And really all that I have for you today is just a slide deck just to introduce you to the course, a little bit more about me as well, and a little bit more about the course, just so you can have an understanding or a basis of understanding of what to expect this year. Okay, so I'm going to be pretty quick with this just to honor your time. And to speak of honoring, I always honor the land and territory in my regular classrooms, but of course, we are an e-learning classroom, so I don't get to speak with you every single day, but do acknowledge that we honor the land that we're on, regardless of the space in which we're learning. And so it is important to appreciate and contextualize this learning and acknowledge that the land that we are on is not our land unless we are and ourselves identify as Indigenous. So we are in a business leadership classroom, and we do talk about equity and we do talk about human rights in a general sense a lot, because in order to be successful in any leadership position, frankly, we really do need to have an open mind and a big heart. And often where we see businesses and leaders fail is when they don't. So we will talk about that, but it does tie into the theme of the course. My name is Miss Thompson. I am a human, just like all of you. It's okay. Sorry about that. I had some interruptions. The life of a teacher. I don't know what I was talking about. I think I said something about I'm a human. So just like you guys, I have a life outside of my teaching, although I do devote a lot of my life to teaching. I've been teaching for 15 years and I love it. but I also love a lot of things. So I do teach business and social justice. I've taught every single business course in the curriculum many times. I also am a business owner. I started a dance studio in Toronto for adults in contemporary classic style dance over 10 years ago. We are I co-own it with three friends. Although right now we are on the board of directors, we no longer run and operate it. We have other teams that do that for us, and I still dance though in my son's a little dance company and studio. So it's kind of cute. But I also love running. I ran a 5K this summer, and that was really hard for me. I'm not a great runner, but I love it. I also have traveled all over the world. And we do some a family owned business as well on social. So we're a very business minded family. My partner is in real estate, and I love business. I love talking about business, but I always do it very passionately from an equity lens, because I believe that business is what can change the world, and the people who are in the big business need to be world change makers and good people. And often we don't see that, and that is why the world has so many problems. So I do talk a lot about that, at least in my regular classroom, and I try to infuse that a lot in my e-learning space as well, which you'll see. Okay. Again, I just briefly talked about this, but I did, I don't need to go into too much detail, but I did my undergrad at University of Guelph. I majored in business and science, and I actually worked with Fairmont Properties for a while before I decided to go to school back to become a teacher, majored in business education, and then I received my master's of education as well. Like I said, I run my own company. I've traveled all over the world. And this is me actually on the top of Mount Fuji. I climbed with my sister in Japan years ago, and we made it to the top just in time for the sunrise. So that was pretty epic. And this summer, like I said, we did a lot of cottaging. We did a lot of, I did my 5K. Here's my little guy. Evan is his name. And he learned to ride his bike. And he learned to, or he started playing baseball, and he does karate and all kinds of good stuff. So we're busy, busy, busy. And on that note, if I ever don't get back to you right away, especially on weekends, it's because I'm with him. So just letting you know. Um, Overall, my kind of teaching philosophy is fairly is what I believe is really important in terms of life philosophy. You don't need to be the smartest student in the world. In fact, I've had a lot of students who are incredibly bright, but they don't perform very well because they take for granted the space. They think that they can, hand stuff in late, do whatever they need to do, push other things aside. But the reality is that's actually not how life works. If you have a hydro bill, you have to pay it on time. So what I really admire in students are students that try, honestly. They are the ones that communicate. They are the ones that reach out. They ask for help. I have no problem meeting with you on Google Meet. We can arrange that between our two work schedules. Happy to do that anytime. And really just, I love seeing initiative, and I love seeing effort. And, I love when students, you can tell a student pays attention to the instructional videos that I post, and they're just really paying attention. You can tell. So again, if don't feel afraid if you feel like you're not the brightest or most creative person, regardless of whether it's this classroom or another classroom. To me, honestly, that doesn't matter in life. What matters is how well you get along with people, how kind you are, how you talk to people, and how willing you are to try and ask for help. Honestly, I know from a lot of life experience now that that's actually how you get ahead. Intelligence can only get you so far. Okay. So, another point I always like to reiterate is, school is hard and life is hard. It's not meant to be easy. It's not meant to be a free ride. So, it is important to practice that self care throughout the semester. And I'll mention this a lot, and we'll do a lot of reflective work on this too. But it is important that you keep that cup at least half full. And it's really easy to have that cup depleted as a semester unfolds, when you have all of your coursework and suddenly you have applications for college and university. And because I'm a grade 12 teacher, I run through this every semester with students. It gets really hard. But there are very, very simple things that you can do in your life that will help you. And just really simple things. They say you're 4 deep breaths away from changing your entire nervous system. So if you're feeling like totally anxious, stop, take 4 deep breaths. And that can be a difference in your day. making sure you get out in nature, taking 10 minutes to do a guided meditation, turning off your cell phone and literally just putting it somewhere else and not going on it for an hour. Taking space to stretch, going and having a rest, even when you have a million things to do, it is important. So that self-care as well as that effort, those two things really do have to align for your success in life. Okay, so this course is all about understanding leadership, but also understanding your role as a leader. And when you hear the word leader, you often think of, really big, bold, extroverted personalities. But what I'm here to teach you is that that's not the case. Some of the best and greatest thinkers and leaders of, in history and of our time are people that are introverts. They are quiet, they are passive, they are listeners, because they sit back and they actually take in their environment and they look at people and they understand people. They're empaths. And so our course is really about allowing you to find out what type of leader you are and the leader within you, and to understand that you don't have to be the loudest person in the room to be an effective leader. In fact, sometimes that's the opposite. Okay, so I think you're really going to like it. I always get great feedback from students with this course, because it just is a great self-reflective course as well. And I don't know that we have a lot of space in life to be self-reflective, but it's really important for our success to have that space. So this course focuses on the development of leadership skills and obviously understanding how to manage a successful business, but it is academic. So you get to understand case study method, looking at how, business application and writing skill development, understanding, how to work in group dynamics and different management strategies and theories. So there's a lot of work that is required of you. It's not a bird course. I will say that, like I mentioned yesterday, a lot, 75 minutes every single day, Monday to Friday for this course. So if you do the math, right, you're looking at 5 to 6 hours of work a week on this course. Okay. So if you leave this class to Sunday and you're working Sunday and you come home from work at 5 o'clock and you get to work for your week for this course at 5 o'clock, you're not going to be successful. Okay. So don't do it. All right. Okay, learning in a virtual space, just a few things you really want to think about. I've already mentioned this. You have to respect deadlines. Everything in this course is due for the week that's assigned on a Sunday at 8 p.m., the following Monday at 8 a.m. So you have literally 7 days to complete everything you need to for the week. There's just no excuses, okay? Now, we have things come up in our lives. Things come up and you need a little more time or it's overwhelming, I expect communication. Do not hand something in late in Brightspace without talking to me, without emailing me or requesting a Google Meet. It will not be marked until we have a conversation, okay? Again, I'm very flexible. I understand life, but we really do want to practice the respect of those deadlines, not just for me and respecting my time, but also your peers and the fact that everybody here is working towards the same goals, right? Sort of. All right. So that's really important. But again, that positivity and growth mindset, really understanding that you do want to devote at least 6 hours a week to this course, making sure that you're managing your time effectively. And if you screw up, just talk to me. Don't just assume that you can hand stuff in 3 weeks late and that I'm just going to go and look at it all. Make sure you communicate with me. It's really, really important, not just, again, for that teacher-student relationship, but in general, life skill development, right? Okay, the course guidelines I showed you yesterday, just a reminder for this week that you have to do your participation activity every single day on the day that it is assigned for the first 2 weeks for your attendance for that day. And then after the first 2 weeks, it's once a week, okay? And that's pretty much it, honestly. If you have any questions, my email address is in the slide deck. It's available on Brightspace. Really, obviously, I have sent you an email as well. And that's a little bit about me and the course. But if you have any questions, let me know. In the instructional videos, you'll have one every Sunday at 8 o'clock. There'll be an instructional video. Like I said, those are mandatory. I will reiterate a lot of this stuff, especially as we go through the first month together, because again, you're just learning my expectations and I want you to be successful. But as always, I hope you have an amazing day. I hope you had an awesome start to your semester. I'm looking forward to see what you do this week, and I will see you online.